Now, as somebody who was on the fence and about to pull the trigger on the Nanlite FC-720C, Nanlite came out with the 720C. I really wanted to add a powerful RGB light to my kit. Being the full color version, you have that full RGB spectrum, you have your green magenta shift. We're going to be using the 720C and 500B to run our tests. Taking my reading, we're at about 8,000 lux. All right guys, welcome back. I know I've been MIA for a while. I've been working on a lot of great productions, but for today's video, I'm excited to share a new piece of equipment that I just picked up. And it is the Nanlite FC-720C. I want to give a shout out to Sweetwater for hooking me up with this light. I did purchase the light from Sweetwater, so it wasn't sponsorship or anything like that. So the light's rated at 800 watts. Right now, this light comes in at I think $599. The build quality is made out of plastic. You have internal fans down at the bottom. The 720C comes in this crush-proof casing for comparison's sake. The FC-500B, so this is Nanlite's bicolor, also within the FC line. They're pretty much the same size, but the 720C is slightly wider. The 720C comes in a little bit heavier. All right, so to open it, we got this little tab here. Well, that didn't work. All right, and open the two tabs we have here. So form factor, it's the same as the 500B, again from the FC line for Nanlite. The chip, I'm noticing, has a different sort of like glass filament. So the filament has this honeycomb texture. So I wonder if that's contributing to the increased output of the 720C line. So that only goes in one way. You also have the ballast, which is bigger, and it says 720B and 720C. So you can use this for either of those two lights. This is how the clamp works. You have a button sort of here at the top. Press that and it releases. All of the connections are on top. And so you have this little loop around where you can hang it off a knob on a C-stand. I'm not a fan of that. So again, another reason why I like that they included the clamp. You have both cables to connect your light to the ballast. So that's the unboxing. The thing I'm really excited about is to get into some of these tests. So we're going to be using the reflector on both the 720C and 500B to run our tests. How much brighter is the 720C compared to the 500? All right, so we have the light connected. We're going to turn it on. You'll see the menu system boot up. Default's at 50% intensity. And then we're at 5600 Kelvin or daylight. To navigate through the menu system, you use this knob on the right-hand side. So you can cycle through your intensity, obviously your CCT, and then our green magenta shift. Let's dial down this intensity. We're gonna go into our modes. So you have a mode button here, and that cycles through your CCT mode, HSI mode, and then your RGBW mode, and then you also have some gel presets, and then your effects modes. Just showing you guys around the light a little bit more. Same sort of top handle as the 500B. Cable made out of durable rubber, connects into your ballast. And again, I like that the connections are both on top. If I needed to, I could put this on the ground. There's nothing underneath. DMX out and in, the USB port. To get to the menu, obviously press the menu button and use the right knob clockwise to cycle through. Another thing I want to point out is I'm going to be taking all of my readings with my light meter. Everything's going to be measured in lux. So I have my measuring tape laid out just to show you guys the distance. So we're at about 9 feet 10 inches or so, which is the equivalent to about 3 meters. Again, we're still starting with the FC-720C and raise that all the way up to 100. So again, we're at 5600. You guys can see that back wall is pretty blown out. So I'm going to take a reading, show it to you guys, then take a reading of the FC-500B, and we're going to cycle through some different color temperatures so you guys can see what kind of output we get out of both lights. Taking my reading, took it twice. We're at about 8,000 lux. Again, almost at 10 feet from the back wall. So I'm powering down the 720C, firing up the FC-500B, sorry. We're at 5600 Kelvin. Crank that up to 100 and take now my reading. All right, so we get pretty much the same reading, so 8,000 lux. Now, once we start changing the color temperature, I think we're gonna see some values vary. So I'm gonna be showing you guys that now. We'll start with the 500B since we have that already fired up. I'm leaving it at 100% intensity and gonna go down to about 4,000 Kelvin. We're at 7,000. And for perspective, if you're, like today for example, is a overcast day down in downtown Milwaukee. And I took a lux reading outside and it came out to be about 13,000 lux. Gonna power down the 500, firing up the 720, 4600 Kelvin, crank that all the way up. So again, 500B, we got 7,000 lux at 4,000 Kelvin. Oh wow. At 4,000 Kelvin, we get 8,000 lux. So these readings are not too scientific. Just wanted to share this information with you guys, take it for what it's worth. All right, we're staying with the 720C, and I'm going to cycle through and lower this down to like 2,600 Kelvin. Still at 100%. So let's see what we get. And we get 6,300. Okay, so I would anticipate as we get warmer, you lose some output. So lowering the 720C, the FC-500B only goes down to 2,700 Kelvin. And we get about 5,500 lux. I'm gonna switch over the 500B. We'll go 6,500 and be a little bit cooler. So 6,500, we get about 9,000. Powering that down, 720C, 6,500. And we get the same output out of the 720C. Staying on the 720, you can go as high as 12,000 Kelvin. And we can't go nearly this cool on the 500B, 8,300. 720C down, and I'm in my HSI mode. And I have my hue set to 265. That's at 100%, 2,000 lux. 220 is my hue, 2,700 lux. We're at about 79 for the hue, going more yellow. So at about 4,000. We're at 9. That really went down, so we're at 1,000. I'm in my RGB mode, try to recreate some of the colors we already went over. Red channel at 112, green at 12, and blue channel at 79, and my white is set to 0. So here we get 640 lux. 214 for the red channel, 12 for green, and 79 for blue. So we're at about 800 lux. So what I'm finding is the values get lower when you're in the RGB and white channel mode. Let's get a blue. So my red channel is set to 35. The other 3 channels are the same. 560. Green, so right now, have 0 for my red channel, 255 for green, 4 for blue, nothing for white. What about 1,800 lux? So it went up slightly for green. And right now we are at 174 for the red channel, 255 for green, 0 for blue in our white channels. So 1,900 lux. I have my red channel set at 255, and green, blue, and white channels are set to 0. Oh wow. So we got about 320 lux. All right, so thank you guys for sticking around for those tests. I know we had a variety of different readings that we got on our light meter, but just want to share some overall thoughts after running some of these tests. So first at 5600 Kelvin, so daylight color temp, both lights were pretty much the same output. Pretty much at the cooler color temps, 5600 Kelvin and up, I mean, you really get a lot of output out of the 720C. And obviously you would sacrifice some output going in the HSI and RGB white color modes. When the pre-orders are done and the discount is taken away and the light coming in still at around a little over 700, it's still worth the purchase in my opinion. Like I said, I'm glad that I held out and picked up one of these. So again, shout out to Sweetwater. And shout out to Plum Media for allowing me to use their studio space. If you guys are looking for any video production, check us out. So I'm going to be running a few more tests and comparing the FC-720C output versus the Aperture 600D. Stay tuned for that video. So I hope you guys found this useful, and stay tuned if you guys want to see some more short films and things that I have coming. So thanks again for watching.